Hi, Misha here, and it's time for another Star Trek video, which I haven't really been doing a lot of for a few different reasons. We've been pretty busy over at the main channel. Also, I've been pretty deep into my aircraft and now ship models. And, surprise, surprise, the Eaglemoss models are made in China, and the whole COVID situation has slowed down their importation. I've noticed that Eaglemoss has gone from releasing one every 2 weeks to a revised schedule of one every 3 weeks. And we're actually getting into the final 8 or 10 and the normal. But today, or rather tonight actually, I have a bonus edition or a special edition. This is the United Earth Space Probe Agency, UESPA, sounds Spanish, Long Range Warp Probe Friendship 1. And this is very much a tribute to Voyager. Actually, Voyager 2 launched before Voyager 1. But anyway, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 of the 1970s. And I've said before, I really like kind of the early Warp and early Federation, early Starfleet ships. In the regular collection, a long time ago, we had the first Earth warp-capable ship, a Phoenix, Zephyr Cochrane's, quite famously made from an intercontinental ballistic missile, capable of right at Warp 1, and this flew in 2063. You know, I understand how this launched, because it's a rocket, and I understand how it went to warp with the nacelles coming out. What I never understood, and many people brought it up too, how did it land? I'm going to assume the main rocket was left in orbit and then recovered later for display at the Smithsonian. That's my best guess. But that's in the regular. A few months back, I showed you this model. This is the SS Conestoga. And like the Friendship 1, this was in Eaglemoss's bonus. And this was featured in Season 1 of Enterprise. This was Earth's first colony ship. Had a crew of about 200. Was launched in 2069. It was capable of a nominal speed of warp 1.3. So a bit of advancement 6 years after Zephyr Cochrane's first flight. And I said when this model first came in, it was instantly a favorite of mine. I was super excited when they announced it in the bonus edition. And I was not disappointed. It's a neat model and blends kind of the old and new. And just today, it got a little bit sidetracked in the mail for a couple of weeks, but finally, my Friendship 1 made it in, and damn, I am impressed. This is neat. For as small of a die-cast model as it is, and surprisingly, it's actually quite weighty. Now, there's of course a lot of plastic on it too, for all the antennae and the dish, but that central body, that cylinder, is metal, and it sits on its stand quite well. I am pretty impressed. This is from Season 7 of Voyager, Episode 21, I believe, so getting towards the end. This was said to be Voyager's first official mission from Starfleet in 7 years. It was sent to retrieve the remains of the probe. Essentially, Friendship 1 here, in the vein of Voyager 100 years before, was launched in 2067, so 4 years after Zephyr Cochrane's first flight. This was unmanned. It was a long-range probe sent from Earth to detect alien races and hopefully communicate with them. It contained data on Earth culture, music, especially Vivaldi. It contained instructions on how to create communications gear to talk with Earth. And it was powered by 2 warp nacelles with antimatter and deuterium. We can assume that it was capable of a little better than Warp 1. I get if Conestoga, a much larger vessel, could do 1.3 just 2 years later. This was obviously between 1.2 and maybe even 1.4 warp because it's smaller and, again, unmanned. And of course, it wasn't ever meant to return home. It was launched and directed in the rough direction of the Delta Quadrant and broadcast a signal. And the UESPA, NASA's easier, kept track of it from when it launched in 2067 until it eventually went silent around 2248. So not bad, right at 180 years. And Voyager finds it on a Delta Quadrant planet. I believe the planet's name was Planet of the Week, and the people who populated it were known as Alien Species of the Week. They did have a name, but I don't know what the hell it is. And because this contained antimatter and kind of a sign of unintended consequences and, backdoor lesson about Prime Directive and all that, they reverse engineered or tried to its antimatter power system and promptly blew their whole planet up. So that was fun. And they blamed humans for this for some weird reason. Yeah. Goes to show you that not only humans are capable of kind of weird deductions of blame. But anyway, Voyager helps them. Hurrah, hurrah. The only bad thing is poor Joe Carey, who was a long-suffering crew member and all-around good guy, became Voyager's last official on-screen casualty before they returned home to the Alpha Quadrant. So, yeah, that happened. Fun fact, Joe Carey actually served aboard the USS Enterprise 1701D a few years before Voyager. And by that I mean the actor who played him was an extra on The Next Generation. So, yeah, I mean, he was a lieutenant on Voyager. So it's very likely, very at least plausible, that he was an ensign or even a crewman if he didn't start off as a commissioned officer on board the Enterprise 2 or 3 years before Voyager launched. Anywho, fun fact. So yeah, after Voyager made peace with the natives, they recovered the remains of Friendship 1, and then just a few weeks later, they returned to Earth, and presumably now this is in the Smithsonian in the year 2378, alongside the Phoenix. It can't be alongside the Conestoga because this was taken apart to make buildings and outhouses out of, so, unfortunately. Yeah, originally on Voyager this was just supposed to be a very simple model, but some enthusiastic and dedicated modelers over there decided to make it something special, and it's said that the front of it is a tribute to the Nomad probe from TOS, the original series. I wouldn't mind a model in Nomad, so I could know what he looks like. And it said that the warp nacelles are from the Phoenix over here. And of course, again, the main body and some of the antennas are reminiscent of the real-world Voyager probe. And presumably Voyager from the motion picture as well. This model is probably one of the more delicate from Eaglemoss. We have 4 large antennae in the front, and then we have a couple of smaller ones in the back. I did ask a friend before doing this video if the 2 smaller antennae are supposed to be asymmetrical. One has that small thing on the end and the other one doesn't. Yep, that's how it's supposed to be. And you can also see on the dish that it has a hole in it. That's to just show that it was traveling through space and probably had a meteor hit at one point. So they weathered the model to kind of show it as it interacted in the Delta Quadrant. And typically, the bonus editions they do are more concept, like the Conestoga, but this was pretty prominent at the beginning of the episode in Voyager, and parts of it were seen throughout the episode in the caverns down below and then on computer monitors. So I'm kind of surprised they didn't just put this in the main lineup. I mean, they put Archer's toy ship, which I'll be showing in a bit, in the main lineup. It just seems a little odd that they put the toy ship in the lineup and this is a special or bonus. But I think maybe part of it is the bonuses cost just a little bit more. And this model, it's a little bigger than usual because of all the sticky out bits. So maybe they just did it because it cost them a little more to manufacture. And I could believe that. It's pretty intricate. It may not be for everyone. It's no Klingon bird of prey. It's not a Cardassian galore. It's not an Enterprise, but it's so neat. And definitely, I mean, it had a whole episode based around it. And I just love this early warp flight stuff. So what do you think? Hopefully I got something on camera for you. As always, disclaimer, I'm blind. I do the best I can. Blah, blah, blah. And again, upside down, right side up, I don't know, it's a space probe. You know, there's no direction in space, so. But anyway, I appreciate you tuning in with me. Hope everyone's still doing safe during these lockdown times, and we're entering into May. Today was pretty nice weather here, and hopefully where you're at is nice as well. Well, with that, I'll let you go. If you could, like, share, and subscribe. This is Misha, and I'll catch you very soon next time.